What's up everybody, and welcome to another video of the series of is a character too strong or too weak and what they could possibly need. Now Gorilla Grodd is actually a good character in the right hands, and he hits like a truck. He's got a ton of reset potential. He's got a lot of mix-ups, a lot of baits, some pretty decent pressure. It is a character that can definitely snowball and take your entire life bar in a blink once he gets his stuff going. Now, some of the things that Gorilla Grodd does need help with, I feel, is he's got some issues with some of his normals and his strings mainly. And one of them is something like this. As you can see, my down one just whiffed there. And that's one of the issues that Grodd has with his down one. Grodd's got a great down one, but the hitbox on it isn't attached very close to his body with the down one. So while it doesn't have very good range, it's got an opening weak spot very close to Grodd where the down one will whiff, and this will actually happen in matches. Like for example, it happened a lot versus Catwoman where she does forward one and you go to down one her, and your down one will completely go through her, and then she'll full combo you with a forward one string. It happens when you're trying to check some characters from dashing in, or you know, situations where you'll just clash with a move or something, like from Flash doing his running man stance, Bane charging in, and the move will completely whiff, and then it could possibly cost you the match or round or ruin your momentum. So I feel like one of the first fixes for Grodd is to fix the hitbox on his down one so it doesn't whiff up close on some characters during actions or anything, and just to smoothen out the hitbox. Now the second thing about Grodd is he's got this normal standing 3, and this is a great normal on knockdown meaty if your opponent wants to press button, especially if there's a background bounce, because you can knock them down, they want to get up press buttons, easy hit confirm, full combo. The problem is there's some characters like Wonder Woman where you'll do the standing 3 and all 3 hits are mid, but it'll whiff, and then that'll get you completely full comboed, even though this 3-hit move is a 3-hitting mid that all jails on block and is +1 on block. So if we're trying to set up Grodd's standing 3 and a knockdown, some characters can just duck block, and then the middle part will whiff, and then you'll get full comboed. So that move I feel needs to be fixed. Just what NRS could do is they can increase the hitbox of the second punch in it so it doesn't whiff, or they can make it so the first punch sucks opponent in a little bit closer on block, so that way that'll help reduce the second hit whiffing. And now onto another thing that Grodd has that I'd like to see fixed is he's got this string right here, back 1+3, and it's back 1 into the grab command, and it's a low into mid launcher, which is hit confirmable with meter. Now what will happen sometimes is when you're trying to shimmy the opponent or delay the low or go for a mix up, you'll end up hitting them, and then the second part will whiff. And this is very unfortunate. So one of the ways NRS could fix this if they wanted to is they could either make the back one not push back on block, so that way the second part won't whiff, or you could also make it not push back on hit. Have a different hit animation for when the characters hit. That way they don't stumble backwards. They either, you know, grab their leg or stumble down or something. Just a different hit reaction. That way the follow-up won't whiff. Alternatively, they can increase the range of the second part. That way, if you hit your opponent with his back one low from range, the second part will never whiff. It'll always connect. That way, it'll be completely consistent with the range of the move. Now, getting into some actual Grodd buffs, one buff I'd like to see for him is for his trait down back 2. This move called Mind Control. I like to see this move be buffed just to be a little bit faster. And by making this move faster, it would solve 2 issues. And those 2 issues are, the first issue is when you activate trait with Grodd, you have access to this amazing string, which is 421. It's a complete built-in option select string, where on hit it'll come out, and it's very easy to hit confirm into this, and you get a full combo off after it for a pretty good amount of damage. And the reason it's an option select is because if your opponent blocks it, the second part won't come out. The first part will come out, and you'll be +2 afterwards. So you can literally do 421. Press the move, and if the opponent's blocking, the second part doesn't come out, and if you whiff it, the second part doesn't come out. But if you happen to hit your opponent, the second part will automatically come out for you, and then you can always get a full combo after that for big damage. Now the reason I say make his mind control faster is because there's an issue where if you hit the opponent crouching or as they're getting up from the ground with a meaty, the opponent will have less airtime because they're closer to the ground. And this negatively affects Grodd worse than it does a lot of characters, because in trait, when you do a knockdown and you go for a meaty 4-2, and if the opponent dares to not block or you stuff a wake up with it, you get huge damage for hitting the opponent with this. But that's what happens when they're crouching and you hit them with this. Because they're lower to the ground, the mind control completely whiffs and you lose your punish. And I feel like that should be fixed, just to make Grodd more consistent with his 4-2 usage, because having that in trait with him is a very good option that would help him, and it's something that should be there. Now, that's the first part of the buff as to why I want his mind control faster. The second part of the reason why I want his mind control faster is so he can combo off his down one into it, and that way he has a way to get a full combo off his 6-frame poke. So by giving him that buff, not only will he have consistent way to always combo off 4-2-1 to check you on, you know, if you're rising from being knocked down on the ground or getting hit by 4-2 while you're crouching. The down one buff, by making mind control faster, would definitely benefit him a lot, because he'd be able to whiff punish a lot better, get a good amount of damage. He'd be able to punish some characters a lot better. You know, characters that have like -8 moves or attacks that are difficult to punish. Grodd will be able to capitalize on that if he's in trait. So I feel that small buff would definitely help Grodd a lot. Now onto the second buff. This string right here doesn't really have a use. Doesn't give a hard knockdown. It's -11 on block, full combo punishable, not cancelable. It'd be cool if NRS can make this string safe on block. That way it has a purpose. Off this 2-2, you could, you know, either finish this string to be safe on block, maybe get some pushback away from the opponent, or go for a cancel or something. That way, you know, it'll just add a little bit more mind games and make this string have a purpose. And the final buff I'd give Grodd is this move right here. Down, down 2. This move does around 9% damage. What I would do is I would make the EX1 do a little bit more damage. Probably around 11% or 12%. Just a little bit more damage, because normal one and the EX1 both do 74.67 on Wonder Woman, which is exactly the same damage for using EX attack. And by buffing the damage, you would also be buffing a chip, which right now they also do the same exact amount of chip. So I feel like these buffs wouldn't be unfair, and they're justified, and I think they would help Grodd a lot. Like I've said earlier, Grodd's a great character. He's definitely got potential. He just needs a few fixes here and there and some slight buffs, and I think he'll be a very good character.